Hey folks, welcome to our special Musky segment with Chas Martin.
Joe, thanks,
The
man.
dude. I like the new handshake.
Yeah.
Hey, you and I are really having some success with this ShallowRaider tweak on the 5-inch and the 7-inch ShallowRaider, and we really want to tell our Musky friends not only about what we're doing with the ShallowRaider, but also this new downsizer rod from St. Croix. So let's
Yes.
start with the lure. You're a big fan of the 5-inch ShallowRaider for guiding.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
primarily, I mean, you've already been playing around with different hooks, and we've noticed there's a big difference between 1/0, which is on here, a 2/0, which you fish a lot.
Yeah, that's probably my primary go-to.
Yes, because
And
you fish a
then-
lot of cabbage.
Yes.
And then what I started doing on this last trip to Lake of the Woods, which was money, was the 3/0.
It was butt kicking.
It was really awesome, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, the 1/0 is like the way we market the lure, and that's a buoyant jerkbait, diving jerkbait for shallow water.
Absolutely.
But then you fish it on a 2/0.
I fish with a 2 because I like as the pause guy, slackline
Yeah.
twitching. I like to have the bait when I have a little bit of space between the top of the cabbage and the surface of the water column. A little bit extra hang time with the 2/0 hooks, and I like the bigger hooks because they hook
The
fish.
hookability.
The hookability, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we ran into these finicky fish laying tight to rocks in 3.5 to like 6 feet of water.
And fishing pressure too.
And
When you think
fishing
about-
pressure. Bingo. Good. That's a big point. So neither one of these techniques was as effective as going to a 3/0, taking the same lure, folks. This is what we're talking about. You're taking the same lure and you're creating 3 different baits out of it. Now we've created a suspending, slightly sinking, hang time, big time
Yeah.
rock bait for finicky fish and rock tight fish.
Well,
right?
and I think you're taking your downsizer ShallowRaider, your little 5-inch, and you're getting it down and you're ticking rocks that are 4 or 5 feet down.
Yes.
Where these fish that are not as active sink down just out of range
Yes.
of your traditional Bucher tail, your
Yes.
top raider, and they can't resist this,
No.
especially when you're making contact with the cover.
Right.
You're ticking.
You're taking it right in front of their face.
It is just they eat it.
And one last thing, folks, when they eat that with those 3/0 hooks,
They're not going
they're
anywhere.
not going anywhere. You got them.
Now, rod though.
Rod, yes. Go
So the downsizer, Legend Tournament St. Croix, 710 medium power, fast action. It is the stick
Yes.
for ShallowRaider, JB Rattler, any of your finesse applications. It's
Yes.
just unbelievable. You're
Yes.
saying for your forearm and wrist fatigue over a long day of fishing, I mean, you just can't beat this.
Well, you go from a traditional musky rod throwing a 5-inch bait, and you're working it like this, versus this with your wrist. And
Yeah, and you can give it all those little finesse, touches that you want with
Yes.
this rod because it's so light. You can do anything you want.
right.
To it.
And what we're doing with though, folks, we're not putting a big 400 reel on this. We're dropping down to a 300. We're dropping down a little bit on line size too. You can fish it with 80, but we like it a lot more with 65 on this reel. It spools better. And a little bit smaller leader, a little bit less length. We're fishing that 9-inch 997 that we make, this braided. And it's just the
setup is just
the setup
deadly.
is money for big fish, and for guiding, for action and stuff. When these fish are tight to cover, but in wrapping it all up, you can take the same lure and you can make it so versatile and do so many different things. And these are things that will separate you from the pack if you start thinking this way. Go, I can take this bait. Okay, I've got a floater. Keep 2/0 in this in your box. You can take the same bait now, put 2/0, and now you've got one that barely floats, and like Chas says, you got hang time. Now you got fish that are super tight to rocks and cover in deeper water, and you have a fishing pressure issue as well, where you want to stay on a downsizing mode. You put the 3/0.
Oh, and I just have 3 different ShallowRaiders, so I'm
Yes.
constantly fishing when you're trying to dial in that pattern. Weeds, rocks, weeds, rocks. So I may just swap back and forth between different hooks, but they're just different baits, just rigged
between
for the
spots.
application. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you
Easy.
do that with your clients all the time.
Easy, yes, absolutely.
There you go, folks. That's the tip of the week.